All right, so we know that the PSU forms a couple really important functions. Number one, it takes your wall voltage, 110, 220 volts, and steps it down. It has what's called a transformer in it that steps down the current considerably. And it feeds just a steady, direct current across the motherboard and by means of these connectors that you see on this slide to power the various components of your system. SATA, you might recall from our previous module, the serial ATA standard can provide all three of those voltages. You see I have the connector over at right, 5-pin SATA connector. They plug into SATA hard drives, SATA optical drives. Molex is a standard that's been around for a long time, 5 volts or 12 volts there. I don't see the Molex that I'm calling out right now used as much now because we're moving away, or we have moved away from parallel ATA, and now we're pretty much on board with SATA, at least for non-server systems. We have 4 and 8-pin 12-volt connectors. Speaking of 4-pin, the one I'm pointing to now is called the Berg connector, and this is a 4-pin for the floppy drive. Who has those nowadays, right? That's basically a historical relic at this point. PCI Express in particular, think beefy video cards that are going to require their own power supply. PCI has a form factor. Notice that the connectors have a really nice latch key on them to make it easier to keep the connector on and not fall off the card. You actually have to press those keys in order to remove the PCI Express power connectors. The 20 and the 24 pin are the ATX main power that connect your power supply to your motherboard. Notice again that those are keyed. It used to be that there was a time when I first got into system building in the late 90s that these were not keyed. And if you put in a 20-pin 12-volt connector the wrong way on the motherboard and turned the computer on, you had just fried your system. These keys are a good way as a failsafe to prevent you from making that kind of mistake.